Peace, Oakland. I'm your host, Seneca Scott, and welcome back to Gotham Oakland. I just got back from some business out of town, and wouldn't you know it, I leave Oakland for 1 week, and the city explodes in crime. We're ranked the #2 most dangerous city in America. Ralph Bunch burns down completely. I told you so. Violent sideshows are back in style, and new ram and rob crews are pulling up. Now, before I left, I spoke with OPD Sergeant Dolan about his take on the safety of Oakland. Now, we'll play that interview in just a minute, but first, let me talk about what's really going on. Now, Oakland has a habit right before every crime wave, in an attempt to gaslight us, City Hall proclaims crime is down. But maybe they don't know that we have eyes and ears. Maybe they also don't know that crime and heat are intimately connected. There's literally a heat crime index. Now, we'll break that down later in this episode. Now, progressives brag across the country that crime is down. They also say that here, but it means nothing if you're living in Oakland, California, and especially means nothing when you're working class and surrounded by violence and illegal dumping and lawlessness every day. So, what is acceptable crime? Because what we have here in Oakland, California, is not acceptable. And let's be real, it's the California Highway Patrol doing the heavy lifting. They're catching people with tactics our own police department can't even use because the progressives will not allow them. But do you ever hear a progressive thank CHP? No. But they keep praising the mythical ceasefire like it's some kind of a religion. Enough of that dumb crap. I'm sick of it. Prove that ceasefire worked. We know CHP's doing the job. So here's the honest truth. Oakland, California has 515 officers. And with that thin line, here's what we're facing in the streets. Prostitution is out of control in Little Saigon. Child trafficking is happening in abandoned cars and RVs. A fentanyl epidemic is spinning out of control. We have more RVs flooding in from cities like San Jose and San Francisco that are finally cracking down. And new smash and grab crews are looting jewelry stores and banks. Graffiti is everywhere. Oakland looks like one giant Burning Man meth art project. Did I mention that illegal dumping is on literally every block in the working class neighborhoods? We have a shocking number of fires, mostly from homeless camps. We have people literally living on rooftops. And with all of that, the city is going bankrupt with all three major credit agencies downgrading us. Now that's Oakland, California today. And what are our leaders talking about? Trump, Donald Trump, always Trump. Queen Mayor Barbara Lee, the whole crew, obsessed with national politics while our city burns down. Now here's the thing, if they did their jobs, we wouldn't even have to worry about the National Guard, Trump's saber rattling, or him coming in swooping to save us. And for the record, I don't want that. I've said on national TV 3 times in the last week, I do not want the National Guard in Oakland. What I do want is for Oakland leaders to do their jobs. That's it. And you should want it too. But instead, they deflect. They gaslight. They call people doom loopers for daring to tell the truth. Well, to everyone using that term to shut down accountability, I've got 2 words for you. Fuck you. Now go run tell that. Now let's run my interview with Sergeant Dolan, but first, please like, comment, and subscribe to Gotham Oakland. Hear the truth about what's really going on here. Hold our leaders accountable. Enough of this crap. Let's roll the tape. So Dolan, thank you for this time. What would you like to say to elected officials in Oakland and to residents in Oakland about the state of public safety in the city? Today is August 19th, 2025 for record. And police staffing and this press release today saying that the city of Oakland only had 515 operational officers and is losing an alarming number of officers every single month. What is your message to the public?
I worry about the future of the city as far as policing. We have to figure out a way to retain the officers we have, stop losing between 5 to 6 officers a month, and then we could focus more on combating crime. Every unit in this city, whether it's patrol, investigations, or short-staffed, and unfortunately, the citizens are the ones that have to see how that goes as far as not being able to solve crimes or get to a call in a timely manner. And it would be nice for the city officials to work on some form of retention program to keep the cops here in Oakland. and help. It's much easier to keep a fully trained officer than keep hiring new cops and then watching them leave. And I would like the mayor and the city council to start thinking about this stuff and talk to the union about what we can do to solve these issues.
Do you think that crime is trending? Last question here. Do you think that crime is trending in the right direction?
I think for statewide, yes. I still worry about some of Oakland as far as, yeah, crime is down compared to last year. And I think a lot of it has to do with the California Highway Patrol coming in here, and they're helping us out on a daily basis. We also have the flock camera systems up and running too to track crime real time. But we still have open beats. We cannot staff properly. We still have to get the 911 call system under control. We have, unfortunately, sometimes people waiting for 3 or 4 days when they call in a call for service that we can't get to. And it would be nice to be able to respond quickly, handle whatever needs the citizens we serve ask for.
I don't know if you caught this, but Sergeant Dolan mentioned that we can't staff our beats properly. Oakland has 35 beats, which means that at minimum we need 35 officers to have one officer per beat. Now, we struggle to cover all of those beats, sometimes only having 28 officers, leaving 7 of the beats uncovered. Think about that for a second. We don't have the minimum officers needed, and we're also out of alignment with minimum police staffing and taxpayer-approved initiatives. So we have, time and time again, elected officials pushing these measures, measure NN, measure this, measure that, all of these measures that City of Oakland taxpayers seem to always vote for, and we never get what we vote for. They also sometimes end up spending that money on things that weren't even in what they pushed in the first place. There should be some accountability around that, but of course in Oakland, California, we have none. So I want to bring a few things to your attention, and then we'll wrap up this brief episode to start the week. Check this out. Here's someone talking about that Oakland, California has abandoned Chinatown. Oakland has abandoned Chinatown. I'm convinced that the city no longer cares about one of its oldest and most historic neighborhoods. Just look around. Ongoing waves of brazen break-ins and robberies, jewelry stops, mom and pop stores, leaving business owners devastated. Outrageous parking fee hikes at Pacific Renaissance Plaza. Businesses find the graffiti they didn't even put up. Meter maids patrolling downtown like hawks, far more aggressively than anywhere else in Oakland. They always want to up that enforcement on taxpayers to make up for their shortcomings, and the fact that real estate transfer taxes down and revenues down and with deficit spending, they want to get it from us. They didn't say that on here, I'm just pointing that out. Elderly residents attacked in the streets with little protection. Well, I got my bulletproof vest on in Oakland. You need to get you a vest. Better strap up. And never leave a house without a strap. Nope. And plan to convert the Courtyard Marriott into housing for the homeless and mentally ill without community input. And the result, after 3 p.m., the streets are empty. The restaurants, once alive with families, weddings, and celebrations, sit quiet. I remember being a kid in the 90s when Oakland Chinatown was the destination. There were 5 or 6 huge dim sum halls, banquets every weekend, and shops bustling with energy. You bumped shoulders just by walking down the street. Now, one by one, I'm sure you can figure it out from there. Where is Charlene Wang? Where's Charlene? Playing with some orangutans and some monkeys at the zoo? What is she doing? Does she even still live in Oakland? Now remember, Councilwoman Wang parachuted in 1D2 after living in Oakland, I think, for like 2 years. Progressives always seem to care that someone's not from Oakland until it comes from one of them running. Charlene Wang, progressive, what is she even? Or is she just someone who carpetbags and says anything and everything and they get elected? I warned you guys about her. Remember, I used to call Charlene Wang the George Santos of Oakland. We need you to show up, Charlene. You hear what your constituents are saying? Time to do your job. What else? Look at that. Look at this beautiful art project from Oakland photographer Thomas Hawk. Or maybe Thomas lives in Piedmont, but Piedmont is in Oakland, whatever. Thomas, beautiful picture. You see that dark stain down there? That is that dark stain is where they burnt up an Infinity vehicle and just torched the vehicle after they made this art project here where I think over 200 people were at a sideshow. Now, speaking of that sideshow, let me go ahead and do some. I don't do a lot of reaction videos, but I want to watch these two videos and just listen to them. I don't think I have much time. I've been gone. I didn't really have much time to watch them. I heard about what was going on, but let me look at the news coverage around these sideshows and ram and rob. Let me bring up these sideshows first.
Took over several intersections in the East Bay this weekend. One appeared in Oakland at 41st and Howe Streets at about 4 o'clock Sunday morning. Drivers were spinning around. One car was destroyed and set on fire. Police have not released any information about the sideshow, but the city's police union claims only 16 police cars were available to respond and that there were about 500 people involved in the sideshows. Now, the police union went on to say,
hold on, 16. I thought it was 28, so we only had 16 available, maybe because they had to cover the rest of the city. So I guess that doesn't
quote, there are restrictive city policies that also hinder OPD's abilities. Police are doing everything in our power to help residents. We ask neighbors to demand the city council and mayor hire more officers and retain the ones we have now.
So you heard what the police officers union said there. There are policies that are restricting Oakland police officers from doing what they need to do. These are the same policies that California Highway Patrol does not have to follow to do what they need to do. I'll repeat, these are the same policies that the California Highway Patrol does not have to follow to do what they need to do. I'll say it one more time in honor of the late, or not the late great, the late great, I mean in terms of his career, because his grifting career is over, Umar Johnson. If you're not familiar, just Google him. For the third time, California Highway Patrol is doing things that OPD is not allowed to do. And look at the results. Look at the results. So let's move on to our next video here about the ram and robs happening in Oakland.
The mayor tells me she recognizes the difference between crime data and the perception of crime. And she said,
whoa, 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 whoa. Are we doing this again? Are we doing this? Are we doing this crime data and the perception of crime crap again? The data is flawed. We've already proved that. The data is also not complete when you're not counting for illegal dumping, when every single RVs across the city, illegal dumping, graffiti, every single mail truck is covered in graffiti. We have so many crimes that aren't even being reported. We have retail theft not being reported because people are worried about their insurance going up. It's not our perception of crime. That's like telling us, don't believe what your eyes and ears say. Don't believe your perception. Perception is sight. That's them telling us, verbally is telling us, don't believe what you see and don't believe what you hear. This is absolutely disgusting. I don't know why you guys put up with this. I don't put up with it.
More work is being done to close that gap.
It's a really, really life-changing amount of money for me to lose.
This woman who did not want her face shown was robbed at gunpoint Wednesday morning after visiting the Bank of America ATM on Lake Park Avenue near Oakland's Lake Merritt. She was upset as she told Oakland police about what happened.
They took like $700, which is basically all, I do pop-ups and I really live check to check. It was not normal for me to have so much cash.
Police urge ATM users to be alert. Our cameras spotted this woman visibly counting her money right after she used the ATM, only minutes after the robbery.
The numbers are one thing, and the numbers are accurate. But of course, people don't feel safe because of what has just taken place.
We caught up to Oakland Mayor Barbara Lee at Jack London Square.
We're working very hard to make sure that people feel safe and that they are safe, and we're going in the right direction. But this is another example of why I keep saying we have a lot of more work to do.
Hours earlier, before dawn Wednesday, thieves used this U-Haul truck to break into the front windows of two banks in the city's Chinatown.
Doesn't it feel like she's talking about on both sides of her mouth? People don't feel safe, but the numbers are accurate. What are you talking about? This is gaslighting. This is gaslighting. Let me finish this up and wrap this up. I'm so upset right now.
They left the
is
U-Haul
what I gotta come
behind with
home
the
to.
chain still attached. The ATM at the Sterling Bank at 8th and Webster was dislodged and possibly stolen using that chain. Around the corner at Cathay Bank at 7th and Webster, the ATM was still there, but the damage still significant. A Cathay Bank manager who did not want his face shown spoke to us in the aftermath.
I just woke up. It was pretty shocking. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty normal, at least in banking. This happens quite often, but just hasn't happened during my tenure.
All hands on deck. We cannot tolerate this. I've talked with people at the bank, and we're working with our community to try to make sure the city responds.
All hands on deck. Which one is it? Is crime down or is it all hands on deck? Which one is it, Barbara? So let me just get my end of the episode rant. City Hall's lying to us. They don't care about us. Most of City Council doesn't care about us. They're on vacation, most of them. Some of them do care about us. I say that all the time. So if you do care, make sure you're in City Hall September 10th to practice encampment abatement policy so we can stop these illegal RVs from pulling up. This fire that happened at Ralph Bunch, why did Ralph Bunch burn down? I warned the city of Oakland it was going to burn down. They let it burn. I think the fire department even said, oh, you know what, we got to demo this thing. Let's just let it burn down so we don't have to spend time and money demoing it. And that would make sense if we didn't have to breathe that air. It would make sense if we didn't have to breathe those fires. How many homeless fires and RVs and car fires do we have to breathe inside of these neighborhoods? Because it ain't in Piedmont, or maybe the last fire was carried over to Piedmont, it was so big. But come on, guys, this is unacceptable. These are unacceptable levels of crime. Stop gaslighting us, City Hall. When every one of our mail trucks is sprayed with graffiti, that is a felony. That is damaging federal and government equipment. I don't know if it's a felony, I'm making that up, but I'll find the penal code and I'll put that penal code up on the screen. Matter of fact, I want to put the penal codes up for the following, just so we're really, really clear. Okay, I'm going to name a crime and I'm going to put the penal code up on the screen. Illegal dumping, right? That's a fine. That's a crime. Here are the penal codes associated with illegal dumping. Graffiti. Here is the penal code associated with graffiti. Here is the penal code associated with 72-hour RV parking and illegal emissions of the sewage leaking from your RV into the street. Here's a associated penal codes for that. Those are crimes. Illegal dumping, graffiti, RVs leaking sewage. 3 crimes. All of them are way up. But yet, and all of them have a demonstrable and fundamental impact on our quality of life. Did we talk about that? No. Why? Because it ruins the narrative of the progressive that everything's fine and continue to vote for us because we're doing a good job. It's their policies that got us here. It is progressive policies that have led to the images and the stories that you're seeing on the news today. And I suggest you wake up and hold these elected officials accountable. Stop being stupid. Stop being lied to. The whole city knows it now. It's time to put an end to this charade. Queen Mayor Barbara Lee should not be allowed to talk out of both sides of her mouth to us anymore. We need to hold these people accountable. 100 days is almost here. Matter of fact, before I leave, is it 100 days yet? There are 3 days left to Barbara Lee's first 100 days. There are 3 days left to Barbara Lee's first 100 days. What has she accomplished? Has she started that forensic audit yet? Have you heard a word about a forensic audit? Because I haven't heard a word about a forensic audit. I think she forgot about that forensic audit because it would mean getting some of her progressive buddies in trouble if they were to do a real forensic audit. Michael Houston, maybe you could just take the reins there and do a forensic audit since Barbara Lee said she was going to do it. Just take the lead. She's not going to stop you, right? She said she wanted to do it. Just do it. Leadership is action, not position. What about anything else? Has she accomplished anything except watching Oakland slide further into hell and further into bankruptcy while she eats ice cream and all of that type of stuff? I got it. Maybe that's why she hired Justin Phillip, the former food blogger, or whatever from the SF Chronicle, turned woke op-ed writer who used his position at the Chronicle to continuously diss the black working class, as we recall Chinatown. He tried to protect Chinatown. As a reward, Barbara Lee hired him. But they both share something in common. They both actually are more better for them to talk about food than anything else. They're both food bloggers. Anyway, the joke didn't land because I messed it up, the timing. I'm not going to retell it. Who gives a shit? Peace, Oakland. I love y'all. See you back here Wednesday. You know what? I think I'm going to cover the unions and a couple other things. And I'm going to keep covering this crime wave happening and the gaslighting happening in Oakland, California. Love you. Peace.
Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here. Yo, I swear it's only up from here.